Okay, so this is an important message. I don't say that much. Now, I don't care what your background is. I don't care if you're Christian, you're atheist, whatever. I don't care if you're polka dot and plaid. I was given a word, and I feel like it is so pivotal, because so many battlegrounds that I feel like the devil has just run people through revolve around the fact we lost a battle I don't even think we knew we were fighting. There was a time period. It is when America was founded, when other nations were doing well, where culture was different. There was a time period of brotherly and sisterly unity and love. This is not to be confused with relationship. You could have two guys walking down the street, holding hands, hugging, laughing, joking. Nobody thought it was relational. It was just brotherly love. This is my brother. This is my do or die. This is the guy that God has put me as my best friend. Never felt you needed a relationship with that person, no nothing. Sisters could have done the same thing. Let's go do our hair and our nails and talk about things. And it wasn't just an escape to get away from the guys. It wasn't just a place to gossip. These were my sisters. You could hug on them. You high five them. You'd meet them on Saturdays. There was a time when you could feel real love for somebody. And it wasn't love is love is love is love. It was just love. And it didn't have to be relational. There wasn't a stipulation to it. And I don't know when the world lost its battle, but we lost a certain ability to see and feel brotherly and sisterly love for someone. To have a relationship with the opposite sex that wasn't a relationship and didn't in any way become sexual. That you could have a deep, intimate, cognitive relationship where you cared about that person viciously like they were one of your own, and it didn't have to be relational or happy fun time based. And I feel we need to take that ground back. I feel that in order to talk and heal people in this world right now, we absolutely, it's not even about, I feel like telling someone, hookup culture and rainbow culture and all this stuff is wrong isn't even the issue. I feel that the issue is that we're replacing all of that with this desire for brother and sisterly love. I mean, think about how hard it is to be friends with someone now. I had a close friend when I met my wife. True story. When I met my wife, and I've had this play out in my life at least 5 times. When I met my wife, she had a friend growing up all the way since high school. Met her, became super close to this person. I mean, she's like a daughter or a sister to me. Absolutely love it. Out of nowhere, we could talk about anything. Didn't matter how vulnerable it was. Didn't matter. Every time we got together, it was like a party, and never ever relational, emotional. She's pretty, but like that's where it ended, And she thought, but there was never relational or sexual. All of a sudden, one night, I get this plethora of texts, explicit texts, and I'm sitting there. I'm kind of awestruck by it, and I texted her, I'm like, what's going on? And it came down, I'm not going to share all her personal information or anything, but it came down to that everyone in her life, when a friendship reached that level, whether it be male or female, everyone wanted it to become relational or sexual in order to keep it. And if it didn't become that, then they made it so something was wrong with her. And I'm like, and I turned to her, I said, you would never need to do that. And I go, you're worth more to me than just a body. Like, that's not what I get the enjoyment out of in this. We weren't doing that before, and I was having just as much fun. And she was like relieved. She actually found Christ through that whole experience. I kid you not. She actually came to God with it. She said that night when I said no, and that I said friendship was enough, and I subject that love is enough. She said she felt like the gates of heaven were opened above her. She wound up leaving the business she was in. She wound up becoming a medical professional. She's married to my other best bro, and they're up in Alaska. And it's this amazing thing. And I've seen this concept whenever I've been able. It was like, I mean, it's still coming to me now. It's like whenever I've seen people relearn how to have brotherly or sisterly love in their life, I watch addictions fall away. I watch happy fun time addictions fall away. The desire for intimacy drops off to a certain degree because they've already had the fulfillment that they think they were going to get through that. Church especially, we lost that battle. Like we have forgotten what brother and sisterly love is in our culture, and we need to relearn it, and we need to teach people about it. You know, if you really claim you are a harbinger of God's word, then this is the kinds of things that you have to protect. You got to go into the places of your life, you got to relearn what brotherly and sisterly love is, and then you need to share it with people. It's not so much going out and telling the world, hey, you're wrong in this area, as much as it's, hey, here's another way to do it, and you'll get the same satisfaction. But it's right, and it won't cost you anything. We need to really preach to our kids this concept of brotherly and sisterly love, that it doesn't have to be relational, and it doesn't have to be physical. You know, we need to really attack and fight these spirits back. Church, I never say this. Share this message. If you want to put it in your own words, that's fine, but get this message out. I'm telling you, I feel it's important. We need to take this message put it out as far as we can, because one of the reasons nations are falling, one of the reasons people are being deceived, one of the big reasons why everybody's become competitive, and businesses are more competitive, and people are being opportunistic, and they're able to do that whole thing that we see going on in the world, is because people have forgotten brotherly and sisterly love. I know it sounds like it's more complex than that, but if you restore the human heart and the human mind, it is amazing what else will fall off. You can have whole lives change. And if we can get people back to the place where they understand the healthy boundaries in their minds and hearts, and where they have that brotherly and sisterly love, it's so important. This is why I turned to people on my last video and I said, please, we're going to start talking to each other. We're going to start hanging out. I would like at least once a month. I've got some people, you know who you are. I want to go out to Delaware and hang with some people. I want to go out to Lorain, Ohio, and hang out with some people. I want to start doing Zoom calls. I want brotherly and sisterly love back in my life. I want my sisters and I want my brothers, and I want to be able to be intimate conversations without it being intimate. I want to have personal relationships without them having to be personal on physically, and I want to be able to have tons of brothers and sisters without it needing to be a poly relationship. You know, if somehow I've convicted someone in their heart, then I'm probably, don't get mad at me and don't just ignore it. Like go relearn something you lost. It's okay. Cultures make mistakes, people make mistakes, and we lose things. But we can get those things back is the amazing thing. And listen, go and be prayerful on this. Really be prayerful on this. And ask God to lead you in it. Don't go off like a crazy person with this and go crazy. Really think. Let it sit. Sometimes you need to, when you get a dose of truth or something, it needs to sit and cook a little bit. It needs to be like a fine wine. It comes into you, and then you let it sit, and because I find people get a hold of a truth and they run with it, and it hasn't really sit and leveled itself out yet in their noggins. Be blessed, church. Spread this message. I don't say this. Brotherly, sisterly love. Spread this message. All right? Be blessed. You know, be wary of temptation. The enemy is going to fight back. Satan takes this very serious. If he did a worldwide removal of this thing, he's not going to be willing to give it back up easily. But Jesus and God are capable of giving it back to people. Be blessed.